Welcome to the third episode of Profs Radio, the show to A-star your business by learning from entrepreneurs' own experience how to solve problems. I am your host, Peter Martin, Director of Profs.biz, the only digital company you need to run your business easier, quicker, and cheaper. Today, we have the Get Stuff Done business coach, Tiana Wilson-Bays from Talking Business. Good morning, Tiana. Do you want to say hi to the listeners and tell them about what you do?
Hi there. Yes, thank you so much for inviting me to be your guest. I'm really feeling quite privileged, so thank you for that. Yes, my name is Tiana Wilson-Bays, and I'm a business coach and productivity strategist. So in reality, what I do is I work with entrepreneurs all over the world to help them get focused, get their businesses moving forward, get the right systems and processes in place to streamline things and make sure that they're not overwhelmed and that their businesses move forward.
Sounds exciting stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Well, I suppose like most other entrepreneurs, my journey has been winding and sort of with many detours, I suppose. You start off at one place and think there's a direct line to your destination, but it doesn't work like that. So I started my first business when I was 12 years old, and I think I was fairly successful if you think about it from the perspective of a 12-year-old. And I suppose I've always been in business. Even during the time where I was employed in the corporate world, I still ran businesses on the side. So anyway, from selling hamsters to selling insurance, I have done just about everything. And it brought me to this point where, with all my cumulative knowledge and experience built up over the years, I'm in this position where I'm fortunate and really lucky to be able to work with so many wonderful clients all over the world to help them get focused. So yeah, a long and interesting journey, but one that I'm really happy that I've done so far.
You're right there. It is never, ever a straight journey. You have this plan in your head. They say, don't they, to make 5-year plans. And actually, by the time you get to that end of the 5 years, you're like, had no intention of doing this at all, or ended up here at all.
Exactly.
As we know, life in business presents many challenges. Is there a challenge that you have come across in business that you can share with all the profs listening?
Oh, crikey, I've had many challenges. In fact, I think that is part of being an entrepreneur, is to have challenges almost on a daily basis. And this could be anything from how to find new clients to marketing to content creation, so there are many, many challenges. For me personally, being a productivity strategist, the challenge has always been to walk the walk. It's fine to go out there and say, oh, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. But if you don't practice what you preach, I don't think you have any credibility. And I don't think new clients will come your way. So for me, it's always, I have to walk the walk, and I have to live by everything that I always teach. So productivity is definitely very, very high on my own agenda. So I always try and find things to help me become more productive. And I think that has been my general challenge over the last 25 years, is to constantly try and be more productive, more efficient, more effective, and get more stuff done in a day, in a week, in a month. And that has been the overall challenge, I suppose, on my own journey.
It's quite hard, isn't it, sometimes to walk the walk, especially you do it all for customers and then it's finding the time to do it for yourself. On the last episode, I was discussing with Dave Algeo about the cobbler's shoes, where the cobbler makes fine shoes, but his kids are running around in racks.
Exactly. That's the thing. And you have to walk the walk. If you want to be credible, if you want people to believe in you, you have to walk the walk. And you can't tell other people to do something that you do not do. So yes, it is difficult and it is a constant challenge for me. Even now, yes, I'm very productive, and I am very good at my time management. But there's always more space for improvement, So it's an ongoing challenge for me, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. I was talking as well last week about how we obviously do websites, but for 2 years just had a website under construction. Never got around to it. But really embarrassing. I think you use a kitchen timer, don't you, for your
I
productivity?
do. I
Can't
do.
be simple and efficient.
I
Eh?
love my kitchen timer. It works,
Yeah,
it just helps you focus. So I'll set it for 50 minutes and get down to focused work for that 50 minutes, 50. And when the kitchen timer sounds, then I know, okay, I can stop now, I can take a break. And I know that I've done 50 minutes of solid, hard thinking work. And that it just sort of helps me through the day. It creates a rhythm. Yeah, I love my kitchen timer. Can't live without it.
Ah. Before we do find out how the issue was resolved, we've heard a little bit there about the kitchen timer. I would like to take a minute to let you know about our community, Entrepreneur Profs, where you can meet other entrepreneurs and learn from them, as well as find the tools that we recommend. Just go to entrepreneurs.profs.biz. You can also join our free Entrepreneur Profs Facebook group and get loads of tips and advice in there as well. So Tiana, you've talked a little bit there how you find it a little bit difficult to walk the walk, and we touched on a little solution there with the kitchen timer, but how have you managed to resolve that issue within your business, and is there any software or other tools that have helped you?
Oh, crikey. I have used probably a million tools over the years to become more productive. But certainly, just off the top of my head, some that I use all the time and that has made such a big difference. Certainly, two of them would be Calendly or Simply Book Me. And these are both online tools where people can book sessions with you. The thing with why I started using them was you do email ping pong, where I'll email you and say, okay, let's meet on this or this or this date. And you'll email back and say, no, sorry, can't do it. Let's do it on that. Really, so you waste so much time in this email ping pong, where if you can just have a standard email, which I have a standard template and I copy and paste, with my Calendly or my Simply Book Me link in it. And people can literally click the link and book a session with me. It takes a whole lot of time wastage on my part and on the other party's part right out of the game, and I use both. I use Calendly as well as Simply Book Me for different aspects of my business. And both of them are brilliant. And, it's just easy. It just makes life easy and you can save a lot of time. So both of those I love and I use. I think both of them have free versions. With Simply Book Me, I use the paid version. It just works better for me, but I used to use the free version and that was fine too. So really some great tools there. And then of course there's their little cousin, Doodle. Now I love Doodle because often you have to set up a meeting with several other people. And then the email ping pong can go totally mad. You can imagine. So with a doodle, you can just set up a doodle, send it to everybody. They put their availability in and it calculates when everybody is available. And again, it's a free tool, but brilliant. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy, and it gets the job done. So I love Doodle. So those are just a few of the tools that I use. But yes, I probably use about a million tools. There we go.
There is so many productivity tools out there, and it is trying, I suppose, to select the ones where it actually start saving you time rather than costing you time trying to use them. I actually heard you speak about this email ping pong once, and that's where I've
Yes.
pinched calendar idea to actually book the recordings for this podcast. It was actually from you. Like, that'll be the easiest way of doing it. Oh, and it has helped, actually, where people just find a day that suits
absolutely. Just makes life easy. Yeah.
So what is the difference between Calendly and Simply Book Me? Is there much of a difference?
There's not a great difference, no. Actually, I can't really think of any major difference. With Simply Book Me, you can have a whole team on one Simply Book Me. So that's quite useful. And also you can sort of create different, I suppose, meeting types within Simply Book Me. So for me, I can have a free 1 hour session, or I could have a strategy session. So I can have different types of meetings for different durations. So I just use Simply Book Me for that kind of thing, where currently I use for quick 20 or 30-minute Zoom calls, which is those typical can I pick your brain type sessions. So I just use the two, but there's not a major difference, no.
Okay, that's very useful. And what is your top tip to improve productivity or time management?
Oh, well, okay. I would say the first thing is schedule it. If you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. And people tend to schedule all the little things, the little coffee meetings and the little things in their lives, instead of scheduling the big rocks, the really important things, the things that are going to drive your business forward. Those are the things you have to schedule first. So for me, in the beginning of the month, I schedule all my deep work in first. And these are projects that will be driving my business forward. Then after that, I schedule client work and all the other little bitties I schedule in after that. So it's all about scheduling. That is your first and foremost rule. And I would say, secondly, you need to make sure that you touch each project and each type of task every single week, or else things slip away. I'm sure you've had those tasks where they roll over from week to week to week to week, and you just never get to them. You know, they always drop to the bottom of the to-do list. And then what happens is, at some point, you're going to get to a point where you've missed a deadline, or you haven't done something that's really important, or the accountant is now on your case because you haven't submitted your accounts, or, you know, it's those things. It's much better to make sure that every single week you work on every sort of or type of task you have. So schedule in chunks of time for admin, for content creation, for marketing, for client work, for project work. You know, schedule all of them in your week. And that way you make sure that you make progress on all fronts at the same time. So I would say those are possibly the most important tips that I can give you to move your business forward and make sure that you are productive on all fronts. Actually, there's one more, which is really important. Schedule only 75% of your day. We tend to overcommit and overschedule. So often people will put in enough tasks for the day that will possibly keep them busy for 15 hours, but they only work for 8 hours. So at the end of the day, they always feel overwhelmed. They always feel that they haven't achieved. They always feel like they are failures. And of course, life happens. So sometimes you could get a call from a client that suddenly takes an hour out of your day that was not scheduled. So if you only scheduled 75% of your day, you have that buffer zone for in case life happens, which then means that you will get all your stuff done every day. And then if life doesn't happen that day, you have 25% of your time that you now can work on tomorrow's tasks, or on a project that you really want to do. Or you can take the afternoon off and go and have coffee in a coffee shop. You know, it's lovely to have that buffer zone. So that's really, really important as well.
There we go. 2 tips for the price of 1. Can't beat that. That's a treat for you guys all listening to this. And lastly, what is your favorite software or tool that you would most recommend? Obviously, we've heard about 3 that you use there for kind of scheduling and preventing email ping pong, as you've named it. Is there any other tool that you really love and that you would recommend?
Oh, definitely. As I said, I use a lot of tools, but probably my absolute favorite in this moment is a little tool called Otter. And Otter is let's call it a transcription platform. So, and again, they've got free versions and a paid version. The wonderful thing with Otter is you can upload an audio or a video file and it transcribes it into text for you. Now, I know there's a lot of transcription software out there, and even Mac has Mac Dictate, which is good as well. The thing that I found with Otter is that it's about 95% correct, where often with these transcription software platforms, man, you read the text afterwards and you think, what was I saying? Where Otter gets about 95% correct, even with my accent, which means I can, for instance, take a Facebook Live that I've done, run it through Otter, and it can become a blog within about 17 minutes. So, it's really fast, it is reliable, it is fairly accurate, which means that you can save a great deal of time when it comes to content repurposing. So Otter, go use it. It is brilliant. Absolutely.
I'll check that one out. You are right there about the accent, because I've got quite a strong northern accent as well. And sometimes when things transcribe it, you're like, no, not really.
I know. One of my clients tried the Mac Dictate, and she's got a broad Geordie accent, and Mac Dictate just couldn't understand her. It got like maybe 5% correct, so she gave up.
They must find all the people that speak real Queen's English to test out these software, and then whenever they give it out anywhere else, it just doesn't work. Similar to the Face ID on the iPhones, I think.
No, go use Otter. Honestly, highly recommend it. Very, very good.
Thank you so much for coming onto this podcast today. It's been hugely beneficial, and I'm sure lots of people listening will also benefit from the things that you've said. Before you do go, how can people connect with you? And is there anybody you would recommend we also interview for this podcast?
Right. Connecting with me is really easy. I am on several social media platforms. Probably LinkedIn is the best platform to find me. And with a name like Tiana Wilson-Bays, I am the only person in the world with that name. So I'm really easy to find. So LinkedIn, and of course, my website, talkingbusiness.biz. You will find more about me, blogs that I've written, resources. So that's a good place to go and find me as well. As for finding other people who I would recommend that you interview, I know a lot of fantastic people who really know their game, who are really successful entrepreneurs. So I can probably give you a list of about 1,000 people, but I will give you one. And I think you need to maybe have a chat to a woman called Catherine Wildman from Hayden Gray. Now, Catherine Wildman is a copywriter, and she knows how to use words like you cannot believe. She is hugely successful, has worked with wonderful clients, and I would say your listeners can probably benefit a great deal from having a chat with Catherine Wildman. So that would be the one person if I had to choose one.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. It's always about who you know, isn't it, rather than what you know. So thank you again for coming on to the podcast. Remember, Profs, to check out our community and Facebook group. Go and A-star your business today.